Hello and greetings from across the Media Multiverse. Today I am going right back to 1919 and looking at a German silent movie called Eerie Tales. And I guess the question I'll be asking is, are these tales still eerie? Essentially, this movie is an anthology of 5 stories. Story number 1 is about a woman who disappears from a hotel and the hotel staff refuse to acknowledge that she has ever been there, she's ever checked in or anything. It is a story that I've seen retold many times over the century. For example, Alfred Hitchcock Presents or The Lady Vanishes, two more famous ones. And as with these other stories, what we're being asked is, who is actually telling the truth? Is it the people who deny seeing her, or is it the person who remembers seeing her? I mean, you can't really have a mass conspiracy on that level, can you? Then we get to story number 2. And it's the old classic of two men falling in love with the same woman. Through a roll of the dice, one wins, one loses, and the loser kills the winner. Years later, the loser is haunted by the ghost of his victim, i.e. the winner. Or is he? Or is it all in his mind? Story number 3 is the Edgar Allan Poe classic, The Black Cat. How does a cat get revenge? Story number 4. I can't do it this way. Number 4 features the Suicide Club. If you join that club and pull out the death card, does this mean that you will die? Or is it all in your mind and suggestion? This is based on a Robert Louis Stevenson short story, better, and story number 5 is about the spectre. A bored housewife receives a baron. When her husband leaves, a spectre stops any immorality from occurring in this humorous take on the supernatural. This is a silent German film from 1919. At times, it did feel a touch prolonged, with the acting a touch theatrical, especially the 4th story with the countdown to death at the Suicide Club. Having said that, if you're a fan of anthologies, such as the Amicus series of films, or cinema in general, I would genuinely recommend you watching this film at least once. These stories stem from famous and not so famous storytellers, and generally they are of a good standard. We see the same actors playing different roles in the different stories, and I am guessing here that they would have approved of this because it gave them a bit of variety, and one of the things of acting is to play other parts. And the stories are indeed varied. I enjoyed them all except for the Suicide Club one, which I did feel was just a touch too long. And some of the acting did start veering into the realm of pantomime. But the idea of that 4th story was good, and it fits into the general theme. Whilst you're in the middle of each of the 5 stories, are the phantoms real, or are they imagined, perhaps from a guilty conscience? Being over a century old, does the film still stand up? That was the question asked at the beginning. And my answer would be mostly yes. The Vanishing Hotel Guest, The Black Cat, and The Suicide Club have graced our cinematic and television screens for over a century, and I'm sure that they will continue to do so in differing guises. The contemporaries of these films back in the 1920s found it to be a benchmark for anthologies going forward. But today, 5 stories is seen as having too many. For example, Amicus and other anthology productions usually have 3 stories with a wraparound and 4 at most. This is a German film, and the version I saw had the German captions with English subtitles. This mainly worked for the first stories, but for the 5th there was too much written on the caption card, and the writing at the bottom bled into the main words, so you couldn't really read the translation. And I'm imagining if you can read German or are German, you probably wouldn't be able to read the last few lines of the German either. And this is a bit of a problem, but that could just be the print that I saw. The print you watch might be different. I've seen this film on a channel called Latest TV, which is a channel that covers the Brighton area in the UK. But I am sure that the film must be available elsewhere too. And if you can track it down, do so. It is a good film. It is a curio, and it is worth watching at least once. And you never know, you may be pleasantly surprised. And those are my thoughts on Eerie Tales. Have you seen the film? Did you enjoy it? Grateful for any thoughts if you have. So until next time, may your news be good news and happy times and places. Farewell.